There is a block on your ASVAB score report that almost nobody reads. It sits under the big number. It is a column of 3-letter codes with numbers beside them, and it is the part that decides what you actually do in the military. The big number only decides whether you get in the door. And by the end of this, we will build one of those codes from scratch, out of a real score report, so you can do it with your own.
Those codes are line scores Erica taught composites. And the reason nobody explains them is that they are different in every branch, so there is no single chart anyone can hand you.
Last time we established that the AFQT is a percentile, a rank against a fixed group. Today we go under it, into the layer that picks the job.
The layout is worth knowing before you are sitting in front of it. Top of the page, one line, your AFQT. Underneath, a block of composites. Same test, same morning, 2 completely different pieces of information.
And a recruiter is reading the second block, not the first.
Jasmine, describe what that block physically looks like, because people picture something more official than it is.
It is unglamorous. A short stack of 2- and 3-letter abbreviations, each with a number next to it. No labels explaining what any of them mean, no legend, no sentence telling you these are the ones that matter. It looks like administrative noise, which is exactly why people's eyes slide past it.
And the one number that does have a label is the one that matters least for your day-to-day life.
That is the design flaw in how this gets communicated, and it is not anybody's fault exactly. The eligibility number has to be prominent because it is the gate. But prominence teaches people what to care about, and it teaches the wrong lesson here.
Here is the part that costs people jobs. 6 of the 10 subtests never touch your AFQT at all. General science, electronics information, auto information, shop information, mechanical comprehension, assembling objects, none of them affect whether you can enlist.
Wait, so you can skip all 6, still enlist, and never know what it cost you?
Exactly that. They are invisible to the gate and decisive for the job list. That is the whole asymmetry.
Which is why every job you have ever heard of sits behind one of those codes rather than behind the headline number. And if you want to drill the sections that build them, the free ASVAB practice questions on certs.professorerica.com are sorted by subtest, so you can work exactly the ones your target job needs.
So the question I would want answered, stated plainly, is this: how is a line score actually built from my subtest scores?
Let us build one thing before the next part, and then we move right on. If any of this is clicking, tap that like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for the next one. It takes a second, it costs nothing, and it helps more than you would think. Professor Duran is at the desk, here to help us take the mechanism apart.
A composite is far less mysterious than the silence around it suggests. It is a selection of subtests, added together, that is genuinely it. The complexity is not in the arithmetic, it is in the fact that every branch selects a different set and calls the result a different name.
And critically, it is built from standard scores, the per subtest numbers, not from the AFQT percentile. Those are different scales doing different jobs.
Say why that matters, because it sounds like bookkeeping.
Because a percentile has already thrown information away. It compressed 4 subtests into one rank. A composite needs the individual subtest scores back, including the 6 the percentile never saw.
So picture a mechanical composite. It reaches for mechanical comprehension, and auto and shop information, and general science. Now picture an electronics one. It reaches for electronics information, general science, arithmetic reasoning, mathematics knowledge. Notice general science appeared in both. Some subtests are load-bearing across several composites, and those are the ones worth your study hours.
That is the first genuinely actionable thing anyone has told me about this test.
Walk it through as arithmetic and it stops being intimidating. Say a composite calls for 3 subtests. You find those 3 standard scores on your report, you add them, and the total is the number the job requirement is compared against. There is no weighting trick, no curve applied at that stage, no hidden step.
And that is why a single weak subtest can be so expensive. If one of the 3 is dragging, it drags every composite that subtest appears in simultaneously. People experience that as a mysterious wall, several unrelated jobs all closed at once, when it is really one number doing the damage in 4 places.
Duran, that is the opposite of how it feels from the inside. It feels like the whole test rejected you.
It does, and that misreading is discouraging in a way the arithmetic simply does not justify. It was rarely the whole test. It is usually one section, and one section is a tractable problem.
Put the 2 composites side by side and the difference is obvious. A mechanical one leans on mechanical comprehension, auto and shop, and general science. A technical one leans on electronics information, general science, and the 2 maths. Only general science sits in both.
There is also a long tail to this that almost nobody mentions at 17. Some of these composites keep mattering years into a career, gating schools and reclassification long after the enlistment decision is finished. The number you set on one morning follows you further than anyone tells you at the time, and it explains something that confuses people constantly. 2 candidates, identical subtest scores, different branches, different job lists. Nothing went wrong. The branches simply selected different subtests to care about.
Which is why advice does not travel. An Army recruiter's guidance about which sections matter is accurate for the Army and can be actively misleading for the Navy, not because anyone is wrong, but because they are describing a different selection.
I want to be careful here though. We are describing the shape of the mechanism, not handing you formulas. The exact combinations and the cut scores move, and they are published by each branch rather than on the central ASVAB site.
That is deliberate on our part. We could read you a table today and it would be wrong within a year and you would act on it. The mechanism does not expire, the numbers do.
I will push on that. People want the number, not the philosophy. Telling somebody to go look it up feels like a dodge.
It would be a dodge if we stopped there. The answer is to teach them exactly which page to open and what to read on it, which is a durable skill. A number they cannot rederive next year is worth less than knowing where the current one lives.
Fair. Teach the lookup then.
4 steps, and it works for any branch. Open that branch's own recruiting site, find the job, read the composite code it requires, then match that code against the block on your score report. Nothing in that sequence expires.
Professor Duran, thank you. That is the clearest version of the mechanism I have heard.
Seconded. The load-bearing subtest point is the one I will be repeating.
Glad to help.
So let us turn the mechanism into something you can run this week, because knowing how a composite is assembled is useless until it changes which page you open tonight.
Step 1 is the one people skip, and it is the whole thing. Name the job. Not the branch, not a vague field, the specific job.
Which feels backwards. Most people assume you take the test, see the number, then pick from what is left.
And naming it means knowing what it actually is. Here is a Marine Corps Combat Engineer spotlight. Watch what the job looks like on the ground, because that is the thing you are aiming your study hours at.
That is a much more useful thing to hold in your head than a code on a page.
That is exactly the order that produces a short list. You cannot aim at a target you have not named.
Step 2. Go to that branch's own recruiting site and find the composite that job requires. Not a prep site, not a forum, not a chart somebody screenshotted in 2022. The branch publishes it, and the branch is the only source whose number is current.
And step 3 writes itself once you have that.
It does, Leo. Find which subtests feed that composite and study those. If your target sits behind an electronics composite, then electronics information and general science are worth more of your evening than another hour of vocabulary.
So say them back in order. Name the job first, the specific one. Then find its composite on the branch site. Then study only the subtests that feed it. 3 steps, in that order.
With one honest caveat that I do not want to bury. If you have not cleared the enlistment gate yet, the 4 AFQT subtests still come first, because a beautiful technical composite is worth nothing if you are not eligible to use it.
So gate first, then target, not target instead of gate.
Correct. And the trap on the other side is studying all 10 subtests evenly, which feels responsible and is the least efficient plan available. Even effort across 10 sections means no composite gets enough of you to move.
2 people, same hours. One spread them evenly, one aimed them at a named composite. Same test day, different job lists.
Jasmine, put numbers on that so it is not just a shape. What does even effort actually buy?
Take 20 hours, spread across 10 subtests, that is 2 hours each, which is barely enough to review one of them properly, let alone move it. Aimed at 3 subtests, it is closer to 7 hours apiece, which is a real intervention. Same budget and only one version changes a composite.
20 hours, 2 ways. 10 sections gets you 2 hours each. 3 sections gets you about 7. Same budget, and only one of those is enough to move anything. And the person who spread it evenly did more total work in their own mind. That is what makes this trap so durable. It punishes the conscientious version of the plan.
One more honest caution before you close it. If somebody genuinely has no target job yet, broad study is not wrong. It is just expensive, and they should know they are paying for optionality rather than getting it free.
That is a fair correction, and I will take it. Broad is the right call when you truly do not know. Just do not stay there by default once you do. So here's where we land. The block under your AFQT is the block that picks your job. Name the job first, find its composite on your branch's own site, then spend your hours on the subtests that build it. If you do one thing after this video, go and find out which composite your target job sits behind, because every other decision follows from that answer.
And the free practice questions on the site are split by subtest, so once you know which ones matter, you can drill exactly those tonight.
If this made that block on the page readable, hit like and subscribe. We are going one subtest at a time from here, and they get very specific. Before we go, tell us in the comments. Do you know which composite your target job sits behind? Name the job, then build the plan backwards. See you at the next one.